Alright guys, so these notes are going to cover the changes in art that happen during the Renaissance and the transition between the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. For one, the medieval art is super sort of flat. There's not any depth that's been added to the paintings. It looks like people are like stacked on top of each other. Any of the figures are very sort of resting faces. They don't have smiles generally or sadness or anything. They're just very emotionless, very flat characters. They're often very cartoon-like. They don't look like realistic people. And almost exclusively Renaissance art is going to have some vein of religion to it. It's almost always going to be parochial. The flip side of that, when we move into the Renaissance, you're looking at paintings that look much more 3D. I mean, obviously sculptures are going to be 3D, but you're going to have backgrounds, you're going to have shadowing, you're going to have detail. You're going to look much more realistic, much more lifelike. Generally, you can depict some kind of emotion out of the piece. You can see what the artist is trying to represent feeling-wise. Is the person happy? Is the person sad? Whatever. There's an extensive attention to various details. Even just so much in like the clothing or the background or the strands of hair or whatever. There's a lot more detail to everything. And occasionally, though not exclusively, they're going to be secular topics. So like take the Mona Lisa, for example. She's not the Virgin Mary, right? She's just a random person. So she's a very secular figure. The ones that we definitely need to know, keys, remember that medieval art focuses on the church, whereas Renaissance art, Renaissance literature is going to be more based on, or we talked about that word, humanism, last set of notes, humanism, focusing more on individuals and individual achievements. Leonardo da Vinci, arguably the most important figure of the Renaissance. He is known as the Renaissance man. He's going to paint the Last Supper, which is this painting, right, of Jesus and the apostles having the Last Supper, as well as the Mona Lisa. Right? He's also a sculptor, he's an inventor, he's a scientist, he studies anatomy, he creates all kinds of things, including he had detailed drawings for a helicopter that would not have functioned in the Renaissance, but with modern technology does function. The next one is Michelangelo, and I'm going to make this go smaller for just a minute so we can talk about it, and then I'll expand it again. He paints the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, which is what that painting was. I'll move that up in a minute. He does David. That's this statue here of David from the story of David and Goliath. So both of these are examples of Renaissance paintings and sculptures, Renaissance art that is religious instead of secular, so parochial. But remember that it doesn't have to be. So the scenes in the Sistine Chapel, that's what this is. This is like looking straight up. You can see that there are just, all kinds of beautiful detailed paintings of different biblical scenes. This one here is this that I have zoomed in. This is the creation of Adam. And so you can see that there's just all kinds of beauty to this work. All right, and next we have a man named Francesco Petrarch. He's considered one of the fathers of humanism. We flip back and forth between calling that Petrarch or giving that title to Erasmus, but he is a humanist author who also wrote sonnets, and he wrote most of his poems to a woman named Laura, and this is a painting of her. She's a wealthy lady of the Renaissance, who he may never even have met. Alright, that's it for art and the transition between medieval and Renaissance period. Bye guys.